Hi everybody, welcome to All Games New and Old. I'm David Rodriguez, and today I'm unboxing Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth. I don't know if you've ever had a game that you wanted and you kept talking yourself out of it. I think mainly because of the price. I did it with this one, but I was thinking, well, I already have Mansions of Madness, and I know there's a lot of similarities here with the app-driven interface and all that sort of thing. And I thought, well, I don't want to get that and then maybe even like it better when I spent so much money on Mansions of Madness. I didn't want this to replace it, possibly. And, I'd heard that it was actually fairly different. It has like a card-based battle system instead of the dice, which looks really interesting to me. Obviously, the setting is very different too. And then I heard some complaints that there was, you had this big adventure and it's like this campaign thing, but you couldn't really explore everything as much as you wanted to because you were on such a tight time frame to get your missions done, whatever they might be. And I was like, well, that's kind of a bummer because I'll definitely want to look around. But then I guess they came out with some different version of it you can play where you do have a little more time to just sort of adventure around and look at things. So little by little, it kind of wore down the reasons why I didn't want it. And it's funny because I kind of knew all along I'd probably like it, but I was trying to talk myself out of it. So anyway, as you can see, I gave in. I got a pretty good deal, so I decided I'd go ahead and give it a shot. And so we're going to open this thing up. So let me flip this over and see what it says here. It says, "Not all those who wander are lost." Famous quote. "It's a dangerous business, Frodo, going out your door. You step onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no knowing where you might be swept off to." Journeys in Middle-earth is a fully cooperative board game of fantasy and adventure for 1 to 5 players. You and your friends take on the roles of the heroic characters from J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, traveling through Middle-earth to battle villainous foes, make courageous choices, and fight against the evil that threatens the land. With an immersive campaign featuring branching narratives, multiple side quests, and a procedural map generation system, Journeys in Middle-earth is continually surprising and highly replayable. Throughout the game's interwoven scenarios, you must work together to unravel mysteries, fight enemies, and further the story as you protect Middle-earth from the encroaching darkness. Adventure awaits only those who are bold enough to seek it. Gather your friends, pack your bags, and find your fortunes with Journeys in Middle-earth. So, looks pretty cool. As you can see here, it does require a companion app to play. You can't just play this out of the box and ignore the app. You need it. So, let's pop this sucker open. A lot of people don't like having apps mixed up in their games. And at one point, I felt the same way. I just didn't think it would be something I'd enjoy. And then I played Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition. And all those fears went away because that game is phenomenal. I believe it was my number 3 of all time when we did our top 50. You should check out our top 50, by the way. I was a little surprised more people didn't look at our top 50 games, but I don't know, whatever. Sometimes it's like that, so whatever. But anyway, it is a fun watch, I think. So, all right, let's pop this sucker open if I can. It's a big, big, deep box. So we're getting there little by little. While this is coming up, I can tell you this was designed by Nathan Hedgick and Grace Holdinghouse, and it is for 1 to 5 players. Isn't that nice? Okay, it's still coming. This is such a deep box that it's kind of hard to get it going here. It's kind of funny. Like, I love fantasy. High fantasy is my jam. I know some people are tired of it or whatever, but I don't understand that even a little bit. So, but weirdly, I haven't been specifically like a Lord of the Rings fan. Like, I certainly enjoyed the movies. I know I read the books like a long, long time ago. I barely even remember them. But yeah, for some reason, it just wasn't a specific world I was interested in. But for some reason, lately, I've really been getting into it more. I've been playing the living card game, and that's really fantastic. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of worn me down too. So this is the Learn to Play guide. This is, Love and Fantasy Flight does this. They have a Learn to Play guide, and then they'll have a rules reference as well. I think it's a great system. I wish more companies would take it up. So this is 16 pages, although the back page is just a quick reference. You can kind of flip through. Got all our components listed there, which is great. How you set it up, of course, always important. And, what I'm wondering here is if this is going to be kind of like Mansions of Madness in that the game itself, despite having like a pretty normal size rule book, is actually, I think it's actually really simple to play. Like, there's not really a ton of rules to learn. And then with that rules reference, it's very easy to just kind of go look stuff up and figure it out. And I think I'm not sure. I think maybe in that first scenario, it even kind of walks you through some stuff as well in that game. So I'm not sure if this one does the same thing, but I think it might. Wouldn't shock me anyway. All right, so that was the learn to play. The rules reference has the Balrog on the cover. That's pretty cool. So this is 32 pages, a lot bigger, but you don't need to read through this if you're not familiar with that. You just kind of look stuff up as things pop up for you, and you can get more specifics and learn about different interactions rather than having it all piled into the rulebook, which can make a rulebook really hard to figure out. So let's see, this is, you got to download the app. We know that. Okay. So let me scooch this over here. I can see already we have some of our land tiles because this creates like this cool map that you travel on, sort of an overworld map. And I may have mentioned on something before, I really like maps that are sort of like isometric, you know, fantasy or medieval or whatever, towns and forests and stuff. Like, I don't know why, I've always enjoyed looking at those. And so this looks like it's got a bit of that. So let's get this off here. We can look at some of the other stuff that might be in here. It's been a while since I looked real closely at the components in any video or anything like that, so this will be kind of a nice surprise for me as well. So as I mentioned here, I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit so you can see it a little better, hopefully. Oh, actually I zoomed it the correct way the first time. That almost never happens. Okay, so we got our land tiles. We got some tokens. I'm not sure what these are for yet. That looks like a river, maybe like a forest thing. I'm not sure. Got some other kinds of tokens here. Other than that, pretty similar to what we have. But yeah, there's like little bridges, all kinds of little details. I love that kind of thing in games. I think these are upside down. Let's flip them around. I just love that. So let's see. Let me move on here. More cool land, some ruins here. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but that looks really cool. These, like a cloaked figure. I wonder if that's like a stealth kind of token, perhaps. This looks like Sauron's helmet, maybe. There's all kinds of cool stuff that I will have to figure out. But I like the sort of hex map. It's really interesting. And I think if you've ever seen it laid out on the table, it's actually really striking. Okay, so here's a bunch of also like banners of different factions. I couldn't tell you what they are off the top of my head, I'm sure. They most of them look like they're probably evil, so there's that. Okay, they've come up with expansions for this as well. I know the most recent one is it costs more than most full games. I don't think it costs more than this full game, but it costs more than a lot of full games. So, you know, if I really like it, I'll definitely be making that plunge. But until then, oh boy, that's rough. I'm gonna wait and make sure. Like, okay, so these boards are interesting. I'm not sure what we've got here. These are basically the same thing. Yeah, some rectangles. Okay, the other side, same thing, but stone. I don't know how that is or what that's about, but sure, there it is. Okay, we've got tiny cards. Tiny cards. Oh boy. I don't know if I can show these off well or not. Okay, so let's try to look at some of these. We'll see if I can get this to actually show on camera very well, because they are super tiny. Fantasy Flight likes these tiny cards sometimes. I'm gonna try to zoom in as far as this is gonna let me, which is not super far. So I'm probably not gonna look through all these because there is a horde of them, and I don't know if this is like story secrets. This has some guy helping pull a horse across a river. Hey, has anyone seen the Never-Ending Story? Cheerful. Okay, so I'm just gonna flip through some of the pictures and not dwell on what they say again, because I don't know if this, I'm not sure how these cards play into it, and I don't want to like blow any story things. Well, let's go ahead and take a look. I don't think these are story stuff, but like this is laceration, which is, you know, some kind of wound effect. But just so you get an idea of some of the art, it's really pretty, really cool. For a long time, as a kid, when I was starting to get into Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, I really didn't like halflings. And I think it's because of how they're typically portrayed. I just thought they were kind of goofy looking creatures, to be honest. I'm like, these guys are not good at adventure. You know, I like the current D&D halflings. Let me zoom this back out. So I think the ones in Lord of the Rings are still, you know, more the, I guess, the style that most people thought of them probably for a long time, that I certainly did. Oh, okay, so here's the characters, I believe. Now, I don't know if all of these are, in fact, characters from Lord of the Rings, like from the stories or not. Some I'm sure are, but I don't know if they all are. And my understanding is a lot of times you'll be having people quest together that couldn't have met. So if you are a stickler for that kind of thing, maybe that's not for you. I don't know. It doesn't bother me at all, really, though. But there's Barivor, Gimli, and Gimli, of course. Legolas. I'm pretty sure this is the same art as the Living Card game. I'm not sure. I know Fantasy Flight does that. They use the same art across different things from the same IP. Elena. Bilbo. Bilbo looks kind of like the guy who plays Doc Ock in the Spider-Man movies right now. I can't remember his name for the life of me. In this picture, he looks like him to me. And Aragorn, because you have to have Aragorn, of course. So, cool selection of heroes. I can't wait to try them out. Oh god, there's more little cards. I'll just flip through a few of them, because I don't want this... here, I'm going to do this again. I don't want this video to be 9 hours long, because it's just a little unboxing, so... But some more cool looks at the pictures. I'm going to have to zoom back down again. Let's get this to zoom in. There we go. That's better. Just great art. Really across the board. I'm really hoping that the app has cool background music, because, I don't know, it really helps set the mood. There's a lot of neat stuff going on in Mansions of Madness, and I'm guessing this is going to be similar, but really cool art. I'm really curious how the card battle system works. I know I watched a thing about it, like, probably well over a year ago, so I don't really remember how it goes, but I remember thinking it seemed really intriguing. I like card mechanics in general. I certainly don't mind dice. I've got a friend who mostly prefers dice and kind of is not a fan of card mechanics, but I'm a little bit, in some ways, the opposite. I think cards, even if they're randomized, just have more possible interesting outcomes than dice really can. So that's why I kind of like them. So these, I'm guessing, are going to be your main characters, and now I'm not going to remember most of their names. So I'm not going to try to remember their names. Let's see. All right. That looks pretty good. Nice detail on the art, or on the minis. Pretty good solid plastic, I'd say. This is one of the women. Might be Elena. I'm not sure. I don't remember, but I like it. These look like they'd be pretty fun to paint, actually. If I like this game, I may paint some of them. I painted a lot of the Mansions of Madness minis. And at some point I was like, oh, I can't paint any more Mansions of Madness minis. So I have a bunch that are also not painted, but I painted some of them, and I do prefer to play them when they're painted if possible, but this has to be Legolas, right? It has to be. Really cool. Really good models. I'm actually very impressed with them. And I really do want to paint. I just think they look like they'd be fun to paint. So we'll see. I haven't had a lot of time to paint lately. Ever since I started doing videos, my model building and painting has taken a steep nosedive, which is sort of a bummer because I do still really like it. It's just that there's only so much time, you know, that's the issue. It's always about time. All right, so those are great. I like the character minis a lot. Let's take a look at the monster minis, because this is... There's a lot. There's a lot of them. One thing I've heard about this game is that it's supposed to be really very challenging. It's not an easy game by any stretch, and that can be okay. I mean, I don't necessarily mind that. A lot of the Mansions of Madness missions are difficult too. Some of them not so much, but some are. So I'm probably not going to pull out every single one of these because there's an awful lot. But I'm going to get a good look at them. Let's look at there's a big guy here. Look at that. Oh, he is beastly. Scary, scary. Let's see. We got, I'm guessing, warg here. Big nasty wolves. I love painting wolves that all those kind of like crazy like hair parts coming off, because it's pretty easy with just washes and dry brushes and stuff. You can get a pretty cool effect, and it looks very natural too because it's not so perfectly clean. So these are really neat. Let me see if there's any others I want to look at. I don't want to, oh, here's an archer. So I don't know how hard the game is or if there's any adjustable difficulty or not, but I know it is supposed to be pretty challenging. So, and it's a campaign. So I think, if I remember right, this is one where even if you fail, you can still continue on your journey. I don't think that means that your journey's over just because you did not succeed in a mission. But obviously, if you didn't succeed, you know, things are not going to go smoothly for you. I think most of the other ones I have here are duplicates, so I'm not going to keep pouring over those. So I'm going to do a lot of sorting, clearly. But that's it. That is this big beast of a game that's closing oh so slowly. Ah, boy. That feels good when it finally closes. All right. We'll see if I can close it when all the stuff's back in there or not. I don't know. But that is Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth, the unboxing. Really excited to give this one a shot. I don't know how soon I'll be able to, but I really want to because it's been in the back of my mind for, I think, years now. So, you know, I finally gave in and got it, and I think it's going to be pretty fantastic. So hopefully a review somewhere down the road. We'll see what happens. I definitely want to get to it, but, you know, time, that darn time thing. So we'll see. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe and click the little bell icon so you can know about the next time I put out a video. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you all around the table again at All Games New and Old. Bye. Alright, if you liked that video, you have impeccable taste, and you might like this video.
Or this one.
Either way, if you want to see more, please hit this button to subscribe.
We'll see you around the table.
Bye.
Bye.